Welcome to Tuesdays at 2. It's Melinda here, and today's topic that we're covering in the first part of the training is about converting to version 3, what to expect, what to do, how to do it, because we've got folks that are going to start converting here in the next few weeks. And I just want to go through some of those common questions and make sure that everybody's really clear on that. We'll do that in the first part of the training. And then the second part of the training is going to be open to just general Q&A time, whatever questions you might have about your console system, whether it's a specific feature, how to do something, where to find something, whatever it might be. You can bring that to the call and we'll walk you through it. So right now, what I want to do is go through some of the common questions. Hang on, I'm just trying to open another screen here. There's that whole typing and talking thing again. There we go. I just want to go through some of the common questions that people have that they've been sending us. And I want to go through each of those. And then if you all have questions about version 3, type those into the webinar box. If you're on the webinar with me live, I'll walk through all your questions about converting. And then we can go into general Q&A time. So one of the first question, Jory just said, I see Helen Ramsey is still one of your clients. Yeah, Helen Ramsey has been with me for 8 years in this training account. She's been my client. So is Fred Smith and Lynn Richards. They've been in this training account forever. I think they have 91 unpaid invoices or something crazy like that. Anyway, we get sidetracked. So version 3. The first question is, well, for some members, I'll go ahead and say this because I see on today's training we have some existing members that had put in the request to be among the first to convert. And our original intention was to have done that actually this past week. And we had some early adopters that came into version 3. And when they did, we discovered a few key things in the transition process in converting from version 2 to version 3 that before we started having other people go through it, we wanted to make sure that we addressed and took care of. So our team has been working on that. We want to make sure that the transition is simple, seamless, smooth, and complete for you. Because what's going to happen is when you get to the login screen, right? When you get to the login screen, it's going to be the same login screen. And what is going to happen is the week before you are scheduled to convert, you're going to get an email from our team. And the email is going to give you all the instructions and all the details about making a successful conversion over to version 3. Now, right now, I'm just talking to all of our existing members. I know we've got some brand new members on the line, but I'm just talking to existing members that have been with us since before August. And you're going to get an email with all the information letting you know, hey, you're eligible to convert to version 3, and here's the scoop. So when you get that email, you know that version 3 has been turned on in your system. Because what we're not doing is we're not saying, okay, version 3 is ready, and we flip the switch, and all existing Coaches Console members have version 3. We're not doing that. What we are doing is in batches, we've segmented the members into batches, and in batches, about every 2 to 3 weeks, we'll roll out another batch of members who can log in and start using version 3. But you have a choice. And when you log in, you'll be prompted when you enter your username and password, you'll be prompted with a screen that gives you 2 buttons, convert me baby, or no, not yet, I'm not ready right now. You know, those 2 options. So even though we say your system is eligible and you have access to version 3, it doesn't mean you have to do it. I know we've got a lot of folks that are like, yeah, give it to me. And then there are some that are like, yeah, not yet. I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I make the switch. Okay, so we make it available to you, and then it's your choice when you want to make the conversion, right? When you, if you don't make the conversion, even though you're eligible for it, when you log into your Coaches Console system, when you log into version 2, which will look like this, we're going to add a new section on the dashboard. You know how there's all these sections, right? So there's going to be a new section on your dashboard that's going to be about version 3, and you will have in bold red letters the link to Convert Me Baby. So at any time you're in version 2, right on your dashboard, from the point you're eligible until the end of the year, you can convert anytime you want to. Just click that button and everything will be transitioned to version 3. When you make that transition, keep in mind, it will then, your dashboard, the same exact dashboard that I'm showing you right now, it will then look like this. So it's going to have that new look and feel, okay? So that's one thing to keep in mind. So you don't have to convert even though we say you're eligible. You have the choice. That's the biggest thing I want you to know is you have the choice when you want to convert. Now, you have the choice up until the end of this year, December 31st of this year. Everybody will be eligible to convert at some point in the next couple months. And by the end of the year, whether you have converted or not, all Coaches Console members on January 1st will be using version 3. So if you don't convert by the end of the year, we're going to convert your system for you. And everybody on January 1st will begin using version 3 from that point forward. Okay. And the idea is that by this time, by December 31st, we will have gone through August, September, October, November, December. We will have gone through 5 months of weekly trainings on these Tuesdays at 2 calls, helping you get familiar with version 3, where to do stuff, where to find features, the new look and feel, so you feel confident and comfortable in the new look and feel of version 3. So it'll give you plenty of time to get comfortable so you can make the conversion in your own timing. So we're giving you a choice. And then for those that were in that very first batch, there was a small group of you, well, relatively small, I guess. There was a group of you, and last week we were going to turn that on, and we said, nope, not yet. We've got to make sure of a few other key things first so the conversion is smooth and easy and complete for you. Our anticipation and our target is to have that by the end of this month. But keep in mind that what you need to know is that when it's time for that to happen, you will receive an email notification directly from us saying it's time, you're now eligible, and it'll give you all the information. Okay, so you're not gonna have any surprises or anything like that. You'll be notified in advance prior to that happening. Mary just asked the question: Have you rolled version 3 people to? Have you rolled out version 3 to others besides the bootcamp folks? All of the people that have just enrolled into bootcamp, all the new members, the new signups that have never been a Coaches Console member before, they signed up with version 3. So they're using version 3 right now. The existing members, we had a lot of existing members that enrolled into bootcamp, and other bootcamp graduates that enrolled for another round of bootcamp. They were all given the choice to convert to version 3 or keep version 2. So they had the choice, just like all of our other existing members will. Many of them converted to version 3. A handful of them did not. They said, nope, I'm going to stick with version 2 for now. So they, whatever their choice was, they converted. And then we do have another group of beta testers, early adopters. You'll hear me say phrases like that have been using it for many weeks now. So that it's, as far as beginning the rollout to other members, we have not started that yet, Mary. That's what's going to be beginning. Our target is at the end of this year. Okay. Victoria asks, I'm just learning version 2. Should I continue with that or go right to version 3? Victoria, forgive me for not knowing when you signed up. If you are part of bootcamp or you were given that option to convert and it's already on your dashboard, I would recommend that you convert to version 3. If it's not on your dashboard and you're not part of bootcamp, then we will roll you out with the rest of our members. But what you learn in version 2, the functions and the features, it's the same functions and features in version 3. It has a different look and feel. Imagine, everybody, if you imagine your house. And all the walls in your house, let's take your kitchen, for example. Let's take your kitchen. All the walls in your kitchen were white. And you decided, you know what? I want a blue kitchen. And you left one Friday afternoon, and some painters came in to work all day Saturday and all day Sunday to paint your whole kitchen. When they come in, they're going to paint everything. And before they leave, they're going to clean everything up and they're going to put everything back in the drawers where they found it. They're going to put everything, hang everything back on the walls, put everything back the way it was before. Version 3 is the same kind of thing. It's the same features, the same functionality, just like in your kitchen. It's the same utensils, the same plates that are in the cupboard, the same cups that are in the cupboard, the same milk that's in the refrigerator, the same coffee mugs that are in the same cabinet. So the features they're in the same place and they do the same thing. We've added a couple of features, and with some of the features, there's one less button to click on, or the button might be orange instead of gray, right? So it's that kind of idea with version 3. So Victoria, if you're learning version 2, keep learning in version 2. You're going to be learning the core features, the core concepts, the system, where to find stuff. And then when you make the conversion, it'll be that new look and feel like you just painted the walls in your kitchen. Okay? You'll be like, ooh, this feels so good. I like this. I like the looks of this. Okay, that's the biggest change. Dumont says, will the links to pages in version 3 be converted automatically? They will be. In version 3, when you convert, if you have links to pages out there, if you have links to your calendar out there, if you put links to something that you created on a blog site that goes back to your console system or your website, they'll automatically be converted and redirected. Okay. So let me answer a couple more questions. I see some folks typing in. Mary says, I asked to be in the first rollout group. Yep, for all the people that requested, we put you in that group. You're in that group. And so Mary, you're on that list. And we will be, like I said, we will be sending everybody on that list. When you were requesting, we had folks that were requesting in the bunch of the webinars over the last several weeks. And you will receive that email from us the week before we turn it on in your system so that you can convert if you want to or not. Okay, so you're good to go with that. One of the other questions that we're getting asked a lot that I wanted to just point out was, if I'm not ready to convert yet, but I'm really excited to learn about this, where can I go to find out more about version 3? So I just wanted to give everybody kind of an overview of that. So that you, right now, as you're still in version 2, you can be going to some of the trainings, attending some of the trainings or watching some of the recordings that are going to give you an idea to help you make the transition. And the biggest resource for that are these Tuesdays at 2 calls. So when you are in your system and you click on customer support and you're taken to the support center, actually, let's go back here. You're taken to the support center. There's specific information. So you can see we've split it up. So if you're still using version 2, you didn't want to convert yet, or you're not in the batch that's rolled out yet, you still have all the material for your current version, how to do things in your current version. And then if you have switched, here's all the same information, but updated for version 3. And then here's some common resources for all members. And in the Tuesdays at 2, here is where you will find a lot of the archived trainings. In fact, we made a dedicated section. We just added this. We made a dedicated section for any Tuesdays at 2 training that we've done that's been part of or relevant to version 3 specifically. This is where we've listed it, and we'll continue to list it. So like today's recording is going to go in this section in the Tuesdays at 2 version 3 training so that you can easily find it. The 2 best recordings to listen to watch, to begin to get a feel before you make the conversion. If you weren't on our sneak peek part 1 and sneak peek part 2 training calls, I think these were done back at the tail end of July and the very beginning of August. These are 2 great resources. On these trainings specifically, what you'll see me doing is you'll see me showing you in version 2 what something looks like. So I'll show version 2 and I'll describe something. I'll be like, oh, okay, so here's what the dashboard looks like in version 2. And then I click over and I say, now here's what that same dashboard looks like in version 3. And I do a lot of screen comparisons. So you're like, oh, okay, so it's the same dashboard, all the same parts and pieces, all the same content and material. it looks differently. And so it gives you an idea and a way to get familiar with the look and feel of how the features are in the same place, called the same thing, work the same way. They just look a little different. So sneak peek part 1 and part 2 are great resources for that side-by-side version 2 to version 3 comparison. Tracy asked the question, where are new added features what are the new added features of version 3? Tracy, this is also in the Tuesdays at 2 section. We've done some trainings on these over the past several weeks. And so the 3 biggest features, it's not all of them, but the 3 biggest changes and additions is the ability to customize your pages in your Coaches Console website with the ability of turning on and turning off sidebar boxes, depending on what kind of page you're creating. So I walked through that with you in this particular training. The second new feature that was added was the email tracking report and the metrics. So you can track clicks and bounces and open rates, unsubscribes. You can see all of that per contact and in an overall report by communication type. So you'll see that in this particular one. And then the third one is the update to the mobile version that comes with version 3, because not only is it mobile friendly and responsive for you accessing your Coaches Console system, but also your clients when they access your website, your private client website, or when clients log in to access forms, course content stuff. It's all mobile responsive. So those are the 3 key changes, and we've done specific trainings about that. And over the coming months, we're going to be continuing to do training specific to version 3. Okay, so like this call on your dashboard, whether you're in version 2 or you're in version 3 on your dashboard, when you see the Tuesdays at 2 weekly live support section, like you'll see here's converting to version 3. Like we're going through the frequently asked questions today and what to expect. Next week, now that you're in version 3, now what should you focus on? We're going to take you through that. And then at the very end of the month, the 3 most important features to look out for when converting from an existing system to version 3. So we're going to take you through that, okay? And so we're going to continue on these weekly Tuesdays at 2 to give you kind of piece by piece, information by information stuff about version 3 so that you can get more and more familiar with it. So if you can come to these live trainings, excellent. If you can't, head up to the support center. And in the support center under Tuesdays at 2, that's where we'll archive all of the version 3 trainings. So you can pick what works for you and what you need to focus on. Okay. Mary Martin just asked the question. Can you quickly tell me where to find the Tuesdays at 2? I just went through that, but I just want to make sure we answer your question. So when you're logged into your system, whether you're here in version 3, you'll find customer support. You'll see it there. Or if you're in version 2, when you're in version 2, in the upper right of your system, you'll see the support center. So either place, it's going to take you to the support center that will then, let me just get that screen back up. Let me switch screens. Here we go. When you click on the support center, it'll look like this, customer support. And when you scroll down, you'll see the common resources for all members. And here's the archive of where all the Tuesdays at 2 trainings are located. And when you click on that, Mary, that's where you'll see we added the version 3 training so that you can see specifically trainings that are relative about version 3, the conversion features, stuff like that. Okay. Okay. What else can you expect with version 3? Oh, this is another question that we're getting with version 3. When I convert, can I switch back? If I decide, oh, let me go try out version 3, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to stick with version 2 for a little bit longer. Can I go back? You cannot. Once you make the conversion, you're in version 3. So I want to make sure that you're ready for the new look and feel to have that, go back that analogy for a second. Your kitchen's repainted. I want to make sure you want a blue kitchen, right? Because once you paint that wall, you know, could it be white again? Yeah, you could paint those walls white again, but we're not reverting systems back. So once you make the conversion to version 3, you're in version 3. So make sure that you tap into all the weekly trainings, the archive trainings, so that you have the readiness factor to make the transition. Because once you click Convert Me Baby, then you're in to version 3. And once you click Convert Me Baby, this is another question that we have is, how long will it take me to set up all my data that's in my current console system in my new console system? And the answer is, it won't take you any time at all. Because that's one of the things that we're working out. In the conversion, when you hit that button, your coach's console system automatically updates every component, every piece of data, every element, every feature in your console system. It's automatically done for you. Now, if you are a newer user, or maybe you don't have, maybe you're not making use of every feature in your console system, it may not take that long. It might just be a few seconds. The conversion happens and you see the dashboard for version 3 like I'm showing you right now. If you've been with us for a while, or you make full use of every feature of your system, I know one of our members, for example, has it's either 12 or 15 of Kim Clausen's ready to go marketing programs uploaded as courses. So she's got a fat system with her courses. That's going to take a few extra minutes. And so depending on the extent that you have data and content in your console system, it might take a few extra minutes or 5 or 10 minutes to make that transition, where for somebody else it might be 30 seconds or a minute or two. But you don't have to go in and update anything. Everything is automatically updated for you. Let's see. Elizabeth asks, how do we make the conversion? If you're not in version 3 yet, and when you log into your console system, if it looks like this, if the dashboard looks like this, and this is what it is, then we have segmented our users, the users of Coaches Console, into multiple groups. We have a handful of people a little more than a handful. We've had several people that identified that they wanted to be in the first batch in those early trainings that we were doing back in July and August. And they'll be among the first ones to convert of our existing members. And then after that, about every 2 to 3 weeks, another batch of members will be, version 3 will be turned on for them to convert if they want to. So Elizabeth, if you are in version 2, then in the coming months, you're going to get an email from us when it's your turn, when it's your you've moved up to the front of the line to be turned on for version 3. You'll get an email from us, and that email will let you know the very next week version 3 will be available to you. So look for the email from us to notify you that version 3 is available. What I cannot tell you is what member is, like what group you're in, group 1, group 2, group 3. I don't know that. But what I do know is we're going to send you that email. So look for that email, and you can make the conversion over to version 3. That's one way you'll know. The second way you'll know is that when you go to log in to the login screen, and you enter your username and your password like you do on any given day, instead of it taking you to version 2 like it normally would, you're going to stop off. There's going to be a screen that it's going to stop you at that's going to give you 2 buttons, Convert Me Baby or No, Not Yet, I'm Not Ready. And you'll be prompted with one of those. And if you say No, Not Yet, then you'll be brought into version 2 like you see on the screen. If on that screen when prompted you say Convert Me Baby, then it will take you automatically into version 3, and it'll look like that. Okay, so look for the email, and then when it is turned on for you, when you go to the login screen, you'll get prompted with that Convert Me Baby or No, Not Yet. Okay, and if you say No, Not Yet, I just want to repeat this again because this is important to know. If you say, when you go to the login screen, so if you go to the login screen and you're prompted at that screen that says Convert or No, Not Yet, if you're like, no, I don't want to do it yet, and you're taken to version 2, like this, you'll have a new element on your dashboard in the top corner of your dashboard that says convert to version 3. And on your dashboard, there will sit a link that says convert me to version 3. So at any time in the future, whenever you're ready, when you log into your system, you're like, yep, today's the day I'm ready to convert. You can just click on that link that'll be on your system. It's not on the screen that I'm sharing you with her. So use your imagination that section is added to the dashboard, and you'll see a link in red letters that says convert me, and you can convert whenever you're ready, whenever you want to do that. Pam asks, what is required to show the new version on the iPad or iPhone? Will it be necessary to download a new app? No, it won't. When you go to Coach's Console and log in, it will just appear because it's a mobile friendly, a mobile responsive site. So it will already know what to do. You do not have to download an app. Okay, there's nothing for you to do. Just like your clients, if they want to go, if they're on their iPad or their tablet and they want to go to log into your private client website, they don't have to download an app either. They just go to your website on their iPad, click on the login screen, enter their username and password on their iPad, and they will then see your private client website portal on their iPad, and your private client website will know how to display because it will know it's on an iPad. So your website and your system will know the device, and it will automatically display according to the device that it's on. All right. Okay, let's see. Any other questions about version 3? Let's see. Let me look through my list. Did I cover everything? Hang on one second. And by the way, in our newsletter that's coming out, I think it's being sent out at the end of this week. In our newsletter, you'll also see that we're addressing these same frequently asked questions. And so you'll see them in our newsletter as well. I think that's everything about what to expect, what to do, and how to do it. Yeah, I think that covers it all. Mary Headley says, this is so awesome. I can't wait. And we are so excited for you to have this. I'll just mention this. I don't want to rub it in. Our new boot campers are loving it, and they're having a lot of fun with it. So we cannot wait to get this out to you guys. Please know that we cannot wait. We are so excited to get version 3 out to you all. And like I said, we intended to have it start rolling out this last week. And what's more important to us, just to be very transparent with you, what's more important to us is that the experience you have is a good experience. So we want to make sure that when you go to convert, the conversion happens, it's seamless, it's smooth, it's effective, it works. And when you're in version 3, everything's working the way it should be. And we found a few things that we're like, nope, that's not how we want it. It's not the level that we want it to be at. So our team's working on that. And we want to get that in place before we convert you. So thank you for your patience and your willingness, because we want to make sure you have a good experience with it. So that's version 3. We have a couple more questions that I want to address that are, I'll say, off topic. So now if you have any questions about your system, any feature, whether it's version 2 or version 3, I can go through either, or something in your, whatever it is, if you've got a question, you can type it into the webinar box if you're on with us live, and we'll make sure that we address it on the call. And by the way, if you're listening into a recording and you weren't able to make it live, we certainly missed you. But if you have a question while you're watching a recording, then head over to the Facebook group or head to the support center, either way. But head to the Facebook group, post your question there, and we've got our trained and certified virtual assistants in there, our support teams in there, Kate and I pop in there. And so post your question there, and we'll make sure it gets answered as well. So if you do have a question, go ahead and type it in. And one of the questions, let me just go back through. Mary Headley asked a question about PayPal. We saw that a lot of people were getting emails from PayPal over the last 2 weeks. And there was an email with all kinds of technical know-how, and you've got to make sure you do this, and so on and so forth. And there was a thread on the Facebook group. People were asking about it. Larry kind of researched it and chimed in. Our team was already on it, and Coastman chimed in on the Facebook thread. But Mary's question is this: do we need to do anything about PayPal or our PayPal connection from Coach's Console? I saw on Facebook that many of us are asking because of an email we got. Is this because of the new credit card thing starting October 1st? Yeah, so PayPal made some changes to how they process information and process data. And our team handles that for you. Because you use your Coach's Console system, and because we integrate with your Coach's Console system, we take care of all that for you. So there is nothing that you need to do. We take care of all that in the back end programming, developing, coding of the system, so that when you click on billing and then billing settings under your merchant and PayPal, everything is still integrated, everything's still connected. So any updates like that are required, like from your merchant, from another example would be if you use Direct Pay, because we directly interface with Direct Pay or Authorize.net, we're going to handle all that so that your system functions the way it needs to. You don't need to worry about any of that information, okay? So thanks for asking, Mary. It's really important to know, and certainly not assume. We don't want to assume that. But yeah, there's nothing that you need to do. If there is something that comes up, I don't think it's going to with this, but I'll just kind of put this out there so you understand how we work. If there was something that was being updated, that we had to update the functionality of the console system, and we needed you to take action, we would do a couple of things. We would do 3 things specifically. We would send out a direct email to you that says, hey, this is what just happened. This is what's occurred. This is what's different. This is what you need to do. So it'll be really clearly articulated. So we'll send an email announcement to all of our members. We'll do a Tuesdays at 2 training on it to let you know this is a new thing that's come up. We've made some changes, and here's your part in this. And then we would also like write in this section, let's say it was something with PayPal, we would also put a note here, like in big red letters, that says, no, you must do X, Y, and Z. So I'm not saying that there is, but if there was anything like that needed your action or something for you to be aware of, we would let you know in those ways. I don't think there's going to be for this, but that's how it would happen. Okay, so you know what to expect. Let's see, I think there was another question. Hang on one second. Let me scroll back through here, and I see several of you are typing in the questions. No, that was it. Okay, so let me go through these. I think we've answered several of these. Laura asks a great question. This is also about version 2 to version 3. Laura says, any general advice about why we might not want to convert version 2 to version 3 in a particular moment and should wait either a few minutes, hours, or days? For example, we're in the middle of a newsletter blast or a program product rollout or a billing run. Those are exactly the reasons, Laura. There's one more reason. I'll talk about the ones you mentioned first. Here's what happens. When you convert from version 2 to version 3, everything is there, everything's existing, everything's functioning the same way that it does. But if you're in the middle of a campaign, and let's say you've got a series of 5 emails and a marketing promotion that are sending people to a sales page on your console website where people are buying a product from your shop. If you're right in the middle of that, if you started that in version 2 for the first 3 days and then you're like, oh, version 3 is here, I would wait until your marketing campaign is done, not because something in your console system isn't going to work. I just want consistency and congruency. So if I'm working in something, I don't have to then shift my gears thinking about where do I find those emails because of the new look and feel. I would complete that marketing process in version 2 with the system you know and are comfortable with. Don't introduce, because a marketing campaign, that's a lot of pieces to think about, and it's a big deal, and you want to be really focused and confident and prepared. So I wouldn't change the way, like if you were I'll go back to I don't know why I'm using this painting your kitchen analogy, but for some reason it seems to work for me. I hope you guys are following along with it. If you wanted to paint your kitchen blue and you were having a child that was getting married and you were going to be doing the wedding reception in your backyard, if the wedding's on Saturday, you're not going to have the contractors come in Saturday morning and paint your kitchen. No, it's too much stress introduced into a situation that already requires your attention. You would either do that well in advance of your wedding party so that it's done, or you would wait until after it's done, after the wedding event is over, right? So if you're in the middle of a billing cycle or you're launching a product, things like that, complete that and then switch to version 3. The other thing that I would say, Laura, that as far as general advice, is know how you work. So some of our members are very used to technology. A lot of our members, interestingly enough, this is always a surprise to me. A lot of our members used to be programmers in a former life. So they are so familiar with the concept of new programming, developing, rolling out, transition, like they get it. They understand how it works. So they're early adopters, I would say. So it's easy for them to switch and go. Like that's how I would be. I'd be like, oh yeah, I totally get it. I see everything that's different. I'll figure it out as I go. I switch and I go. Kate, on the other hand, does not like change. As soon as something doesn't look the way it's always looked, her assumption is it's broken. I don't know if Kate's on the call. If she is, she can chime in and laugh at me or laugh with me. But that's how Kate is as a person. If something looks different, even though it's the same exact function, the same exact thing as it was yesterday, if it looks different, her tendency is to think it's broken. So for her to make that transition immediately is going to be high stress for her, because all of a sudden she's going to think her entire console system is broken and doesn't work, when really it's just been painted blue, right? The walls are painted blue is all that's happened. So what I would tell to somebody like Kate is, keep using version 2 that you're used to, but attend to these trainings so that you kind of, instead of diving into the deep end, you kind of wade in to the shallow end, get used to the water, get used to how it feels, go in a little deeper, get used to how it feels through the trainings, and then make the transition. So that's the other general advice that I would give, Laura. That's a great question. Thanks for asking it. Okay. Anne asked a question: how can you calculate and add tax on products? In your console system, under billing settings, there is an area where you have the ability to add tax. So if you have a tax, like a GST tax or a tax that's going to be added, you can enter whatever that default tax is here. And then it's added to whenever you generate an invoice or generate a product, it'll be added to that product. Okay. So that's the default way to have it added to every single item that's on your invoices or that you sell online. The other thing you can do, Anne, after you do that, make sure you click Save Your Changes. When you're creating an invoice, you can, if it's just maybe there's just one thing that you're going to add tax on, and let's say that you've got product XYZ, whatever that product is. I don't even know if we have, well, I'll just assign it to this. If you're creating a product, then you have to show a line item for that product, add that, and then you would just add a separate miscellaneous, use this add miscellaneous button, tax on product XYZ. And if it's a one-time thing, you can just, whatever the percentage is, you can manually calculate it. Because the intention of this Coach's Console system is to invoice for or sell online programs, services, coaching packages, not necessarily a mug or a physical product that you have to charge tax on. You know, like we've said, it's not a fulfillment center. It's not designed to do it in that capacity, but just add miscellaneous, enter a line item for tax, have an account set up for tax, and enter whatever that amount is. Just calculate it out, type in the amount, and click add. And it'll add a separate line item because you have to show that separately if you're doing something like that. Okay, so a couple different ways. If it's something that you've got the settings where you can do it once and it's applied to everything, or you can just add miscellaneous as you're going along for kind of one-off type stuff. All right, Rob asked a question. For your availability in calendar, can you set available times as far in the future as you like, but restrict visibility of available to 2 or 3 week windows for new clients? You know, Rob, that's actually a great idea. You can't do that yet. That's an idea that's in our inbox. So let me just show you what I was talking about. In the calendar, when you set up blocks of available time, let's say that Rob wants to set up blocks through the end of, he wants to set up available blocks of time on his calendar through the end of October. He knows what his schedule is. He knows when he's traveling and when he's not, when he's around, whatever. And he wants to set up blocks of available time through the end of October. Whatever blocks you schedule in your console system, they will be visible to people that come to your website. So if you only want people to see 2 to 3 weeks in advance, then only sit down and schedule those 2 or 3 weeks today. And what we teach in boot camp and just kind of a simple way to do it, like if I was just setting up my calendar, I would come today, or let's say yesterday, because it's a Monday. I like being neat like that. I would sit down yesterday on a Monday, and I would say, okay, what are my blocks of available time for the next 3 weeks? And that is going to take me through the end of, actually through October 2nd, right? And so I would set up those blocks of available time. They would show on my calendar. Visitors that come there can see them. Clients that come there can see them and schedule and reschedule stuff. So I do that yesterday on Monday the 14th. Next Monday, the 21st, I would then sit down, take a few minutes, and for the first full week in October, I would add those blocks of available time. And then the following Monday, the 28th, I would sit down and I would add a few blocks of available time for the week of the 12th. So every Monday, I'm always adding a few blocks of time 3 weeks out. So at any given point when somebody comes to my calendar, they are seeing only 3 weeks at a time. So that's how I would recommend to do that, Rob. Mary Martin asked the question. I have a domain name from Wix, and it's marydmartin.net. How do I know it transferred over, and how would I mask from Wix versus GoDaddy? That's a great question. And one of the things that I'm going to point you to, Mary, because it's going to have a lot of information that I think is going to be really helpful for you, in the customer support, whether you're in version 2 or version 3, it doesn't matter because it all funnels to the same customer support. When you click on Tuesdays at 2, I think it was, I forget the exact date, but a few weeks ago, I did a total call on, I was just trying to think of the title. I can't think of the title right now, but I did a webinar training, a Tuesdays at 2 training on your domain name. I think it was it 2 weeks ago? Oh yeah, here it is. Let me switch back over here. Yeah, on September 1st. So when you log into your console system, Mary, you're going to see right on the dashboard, because it was in this current month on September 1st, the topic, your domain name. And you can see, click here to access the recording. And we spent the whole time, I actually logged into our GoDaddy account and I clicked where you click and I typed in what you need to type in. And I walked you through how to mask, how to point, how to redirect your domain name, and how to go through all that. So that, Mary, I would walk through that domain name training. It's going to give you really clear step-by-steps. You can start the recording, watch what I do, pause it, and then log into your own console system and do what I just showed you how to do. and then go back to the recording, kind of go back and forth from the recording, the archived recording, to your system and implement it. Okay. So the way that you do that is through something called pointing or forwarding or masking your domain name from Coach's Console. And then, so for example, if you did that, maybe you were on that training, maybe you don't have to go back and watch the recording, but if you did that, then when somebody types in your address, they will automatically be redirected. Let's just do it really quickly. Let me just type this in. Yeah. So I type in your address that you have registered. There's your registered domain name. And when I type it in, now they're taken to this. You've begun to start working on this. I mean, you're still, some of the template stuff is still there. You still have some work to do. But yep, they're forwarded to your Coach's Console system. And if you look here in the very upper left, it's still your registered domain name. So you did the masking successfully, and everything is pointing it to the right place. Okay. And so now what you can do is you can just continue to work in your console system on your home page, on your free gift, and adding those elements in before you start handing out that website URL. Okay. Excellent. All right, let's see. Anne says, we are coming out with our book and need to add sales tax for Florida residents. Yeah, so I would, when somebody, here's what I would, my guess is, Anne, that you're going to be selling your book through your console shopping cart. Is that right? Just type into the webinar box. Yep, so what I would do, Anne, in your shopping cart, under products, I would create one product and I would call it book ABC, and whatever, like let's say it's $19.99, whatever the price is. Because it's not everybody that's going to buy this book, you don't want to go under billing settings. Scratch that. That's not what you want to do. But you would set up two separate products. So you would set up one product, the book name, the price, the content, like all this stuff. And then you would set up a second product. So let me just do this. So book ABC, let's say it's $19.99. It can be purchased anytime. Content access, nothing. They have access to, or maybe you give them access to something. I don't know, but I'm going to say nothing if it's just a book. Oh, wait, description. So no content access. They're just going to buy the book. Autoresponders, I would say I would edit the default one so that with your autoresponder that's sent immediately, instead of how to access, because they're not accessing a coaching program or a teleclass or a course or anything like that, your book is on its way, something like that. And then you can do, don't use the default, but just give them information about, congratulations for purchasing the book. We're so excited. When you read this book, you'll be able to accomplish X, Y, and Z. And you should anticipate to receive your book in X amount of time frame. So just give them an expectation. I would take whatever you put on the first, on this autoresponder message, I would copy that same message and I would put that on the thank you page. I'd put that on the thank you page. And then you've got your product, right? And so at the bottom of the list, here's book A, B, and C. There it is. So that's the first product that you create. And the second product you would create, I would go in and I would copy this because it's going to be the same exact thing. Are you sure you want to copy this product? Yes. So it's going to create a clone of that copy of that book. There it is. And then we would edit this. And what I would do, Anne, is I would do book ABC, Florida residents. And I would change the price. So now maybe it's $22.54. I don't know. I'm totally made up a number, like whatever the amount with tax is. And in the description, I would say description and make a note that the price includes tax, something like that. And in the description that it's for Florida residents only, something like that. So you could do it that way. That's one way that you could do it. You could also create a special link that they have to contact you if they're in Florida so that you make sure that they pay tax. You could do it a couple different ways like that. But I think that'll make sense and get you started. Adrian, hello, Adrian. Adrian asks, can you have a different tax per client? So when you are in your contacts and you're in the profile, you can have a different currency type per client. And your tax is invoice specific. So you can set up a different currency, but when you're creating your products or your invoices, it's specific to your system. And so you can, depending on the currency, it's going to affect the pricing amount, but the tax is specific to the product. Karen asked the question, is there a way to organize the documents under a category? For example, I have recipes section and would like them in alphabetical order. I'm in version 3. They seem to be listed in the order of uploading. So in, Karen, when you're under websites and under documents, there are, you'll see up here, add and manage categories. So you can have different categories. So you can see here this gray stripe, and this is version 3 that I'm showing you. This is what it's going to look like in your system. So you'll see, like I've got the category of Get Clients Now Teleclass and the category of Main. If I scroll down, here's another category. So you'll see the categories by that blue text and that gray stripe. And this is true for version 2, by the way. You can have categories and you can organize your documents by category. So when your clients are looking at them, they see them organized on your screen by category. So you can have all kinds of different categories. And then let me just edit the settings for this document. As you upload a document, you have a pull down menu to select the category, and you can see here in this training course I have a lot of different categories that I've already added, so it's unlimited the number of categories you want. I wouldn't get too crazy with it, and you can assign it to wherever you want that document to appear. And then of course you can give the permissions so that only the right people or the right groups have access to that. So you can set up those categories. Right now, we're going to be adding in like the ability in, I think it's in Pages, for example, or some of the other things. You can click and drag and rearrange documents. You're not able to do that right now. So they are in the order that you added them. But there will be the ability in the near future to click and drag and rearrange the listing of those documents. But right now, if you just want to edit the settings, you can click edit and you can assign it to any of the categories for the documents that you have uploaded. Okay. Any other questions? I think let me go back here. Ed asked a clarifying question on the calendar. Is the default allowing only 3 weeks in advance? No, Ed. With your calendar, when you were asking the question about the blocks of available time, you can schedule blocks of available time for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. You could go out forever if you wanted to. We certainly don't recommend that. So there's no limitation about how far in advance you schedule blocks of available time. The thing I want you to know is, for example, if you were to schedule blocks of available time between now and the end of the year, I'll exaggerate it for this example. If you were to schedule blocks of available time between now and the end of the year and a visitor went to your website, they would see all of the blocks of available time you've scheduled between now and the end of the year. And what I got from your question is that you really only want people to see 2 and 3 weeks in advance. There's no limitations in the system about that. It's just a preference for how you work. Does that clear that up, Ed? Just type into the webinar box yes or no, or clear as mud, or thanks a lot, Melinda, or that was helpful, whatever. Okay, good. That's good. Yeah, you can just know that whatever you schedule, they'll see. Let's see. Kate asked a question. Kate says, I suspect the question on setting up individual tax rates is from Washington State, which wants businesses to charge the tax from each customer's residence, and each county, city in Washington State, for example, may have a different tax. Luckily, if you don't know where a buyer is located, you can use your own tax zone. It's crazy, but that's our legislature. Yeah, so in that case, you would want to work from an invoicing system if it has to be specific to where they're located, where the buyer's located, and it's not a blanket tax that is applied to everybody. You would want to work on do not use your shopping cart to sell products to people in, like if you're in Washington State doing that. You would want to use the invoice so you know exactly where they're located. And you can do that add miscellaneous item like I was showing earlier. So when you go under billing and create an invoice, you can use that add miscellaneous. And depending on where they're located, you would have to look up your tax. We do not have that data built into the console system. So you would have to know where the buyer is, what their tax rate is, calculate the tax, and then do add miscellaneous and enter that as a line item, Kate. Okay. Any other questions? I think that covers all the questions. We have a couple more minutes. I'm happy to sneak one in if you want me to. And if not, I think that oh, Rob snuck one more in. Awesome, Rob. So Rob says, is it possible to customize the name of your sample session in the availability counter so it sounds more attractive than available for sample sessions prospects? Absolutely, Rob. In fact, we encourage you to do that. So what Rob's talking about, when you go to book a block of available time and you decide you want to set up some available time for sample sessions, this is populated in here from the pull down menu so that you know what you're scheduling. But you can certainly change this, and you can say, like we call ours a jumpstart consultation. I almost was typing and talking at the same time. So you could just type in, what if you have a specific name, just type in jumpstart consultation. Absolutely, you can do that. We populate it for you, so if you don't do anything, it's not blank, and you can change it. We change ours, so it's easy enough to do. Awesome. Great question, Rob. All right, everybody. Well, keep in mind, like I was saying at the beginning, in the support center, under Tuesdays at 2, we've added the version 3 training section. So you'll see any trainings that are about version 3. I highly recommend that you go watch those. And specifically on your dashboard, whether you're in version 2 or version 3, in your dashboard, we've got several calls this month about version 3. If you can't be on with us live, I certainly hope you can be. If not, you can access the recordings and listen to the recordings, like last week's topic, pages and menus and sidebar boxes. That was one of the new features of the console system, and so we went through that in great detail. So you'll see those right on your dashboard, and head over to the training center and tap into those recordings so that you know what to expect when it's time for you to make the conversion. Stacy says, I'm so excited to get to version 3. I love the new interface, and I'm really happy to see it mobile optimized for both coach and client. No, it's gonna be really cool. So be on the lookout for the emails that come from us, attend the trainings, and get prepared in advance for when it's time for you to make the conversion. And I want to thank everybody for being on the call today, and we will see you here for another great topic next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.